This is the garden party, and we want a garden party with you. We talk about the plants we grow and some things you might not know. The garden party.
What is going on? Shout out to Craig for the awesome intro. I never get over Craig doing that intro for us. Like that is so fantastic. It is Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time here in the Houston area, and I'm by myself this week. Last week I had Phil sitting right next to me, and so that was a different experience. I've never done the podcast with someone right next to me before, so that was fantastic. But we had Figtoberfest. It was a huge success. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that later on. But I want to go ahead and just say happy Wednesday. It's a great week to be gardening. And Phil, what you got going on, dude?
What's up, everybody? Your favorite plant parent, garden parent, trying to do the both, juggle it with my kids, and I am back on my favorite thing of the week, which is talking about plants with all my buds. So I'm actually coming back from Texas, and then for my other job where I do like coastal science work, I was at my all hands. So I just got back today, and I'm back on the podcast. So I'm done traveling for a little bit. I'm ready to go check. I checked in with my wife. I'm like, how are the plants? And she's like, they're good. I was like, are they? She's like, they are. They're good. Thanks. You got my back.
It was a pleasure hearing Phil talk to his wife every night. She'd be walking through the garden on FaceTime and like, is this fig ripe enough? Phil's like, no, leave that one, another one. Leave that another day, you know? And she's like, well, the kid's already picked like 6 of them. And he's like, oh my God. Like, it was such a pleasure to hear them talk every evening. They're so sweet to each other. And my wife was like, why can't you be that sweet? And I was like, Phil talks to me like this on the phone. This is just Phil. Like, this is how Phil talks to people. But yeah, no, it was a pleasure having Phil as a guest, man. I can look forward to that every single year. Next year, we're gonna have to come up there and visit you as well. So
I thought I moved to the South, coming from Pennsylvania down to North Carolina, and you're that much warmer. When I was there, I'm like, you're like, yeah, it's 96 out. I was like, it's October. It's like
it's hot, dude.
Staying that much warm. Yeah. It's still warm here, but it's not like that. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Me and Phil were in flip-flops basically the entire time he was here. Like it was awesome. Well, awesome, Phil. Happy to have you, dude. Mr. Josh, Uncle Josh, what is up, dude?
Well, just planting trees. I mean, what else is there to do, right? I mean, I plant, I don't know, 20 to 30 every year, and I just keep getting more and more and more. So I'm excited to be here tonight, talk about growing fruit trees. Sort of, I got a lot coming up, right? My community garden event. I've got just a bunch of trees like in the backlog I'm going to be selling or putting in the ground. But I definitely am excited to talk about some companion plants later. So yeah, it's going to be good.
Awesome, man. Well, we are awesome. We're happy to have a first time guest on tonight. Josh kind of connected us, and he's pretty popular across Instagram and a bunch of social media. We got Nick the farmer. What's going on, Nick? How you doing, man? Introduce yourself to everybody.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I've never been to a garden party, so this is a first time honor. So I hope I can be back one day. But yeah, my name's Nick Cutsumpas, also known as FarmerNick on all things social, and I am a self-described plantrepreneur. Started growing food in my parents' backyard in New York back in 2014, and then got into houseplants, living in the concrete jungle of New York City. That turned into community gardening, urban landscaping, growing my own food now at my 10-acre homestead in Michigan, and very much have gotten into this world of eco-focused landscaping and growing as much food as possible. So I'm among friends in this group, which is great.
Absolutely.
Woohoo!
Yeah, this isn't the type of garden party where you stick your pinky up. I just want to be clear. Yes. This is a little bit more casual.
No fine china here.
Texas meets Carolinas, okay?
Yes. There are cucumber sandwiches though, so save a little room in your stomach for that. So, so you grew up in New York, like the city, or you grew up like just New York State?
I grew up just north of New York City in White Plains, New York, and I was living like a very corporate Westchester kid life, right? Like you go to a good college, you graduate, you work in the city, you live at home for a few years. And then, you buy your white picket fence home with 2.5 kids and a golden retriever and you call it a day, right? But it was at that period where I started growing food at my parents because my mom was like, you got to do something around the house if you're going to live here rent free. And I'm glad she suggested gardening because it set me on this whole other track that I never knew was possible.
That's awesome, man.
Did you get started during the pandemic or was it before then?
No, this is 2014. So
Oh, wow.
I had just finished and graduated from Tufts University in Boston, and I played baseball. And I think that was important because you spend your whole life with this identity of an athlete. And then all of a sudden you graduate and it's like, well, who am I now? Like this thing is done.
Yeah.
And plant just kind of snuck in right through that window, and I haven't looked back since.
Oh man, dude, Nick, we gotta talk, man, because I grew up in a similar lifestyle. I grew up outside Philadelphia, but then I went to Skidmore College in upstate New York in Saratoga.
Well, very familiar with it.
Played lacrosse, graduated, moved to Boston, lived in Davis Square for a little bit over by you at Tufts. I had friends that went there. Yeah, like I hear that and all, but while I was in Cambridge and because I moved over to the Cambridge side, I had a little garden down in Inman Square that I would garden at. And that's where I kind of cut my teeth gardening in small spaces like you. And it's awesome to see where you're at now with 10 acres in Michigan, man. That's epic.
Yeah, you get it. You understand the transition.
I get it, man.
It's not easy.
No.
Yeah. It's a very relatable story because I mean I hear a lot of buddies, like I was a vet, and so like a lot of veterans, they get out of the military and they don't know, what they want to do. And I hear some of these people having these veteran farms, these veteran gardens where it's like therapeutic to these guys. And it kind of gives them a little bit of purpose and a little bit of something kind of take your mind off things while at the same time accomplishing something. And so it's something so important that a lot of people can relate to and use it as therapy like that. So I love hearing that.
You know what? Destin and I had a talk with Farmer Froberg when we were down there, and it was so much fun. I go, you know what got me? I watched the David Beckham documentary, and after he did his whole career, did all the stuff, like, you're at the top. What do you want to do now? And he's like, I'm going to buy some land and start gardening. And he's got a greenhouse. He's got
bees and
animals.
Everything.
He's got bees. And I was like, wait, so like that's the whole point. Everybody's just gravitating towards the space.
All roads lead to gardening. That's
exactly.
Well, and I feel like especially like highly competitive people can really get into gardening because there's so many lanes you can go down. Like if you feel like you've already it's like with me with figs. Like I kind of got. I started out with fig trees, started out with, balcony gardening in my apartment. And then, I got into like pomegranates, and then you get into like, citrus, and then you get into like cactus. And there's so many things to get your head into. And then also new varieties and new species are being discovered every year. So like people that are, proactive and like challenges and stuff like that, it's such a cool thing to get into because you can try so many different things. Like I love telling. My favorite thing is when people tell me that I can't grow stuff. I grow something here in Texas because it makes me want to grow it even more.
Don't tell me I can't grow that.
Like what have you taken on as a challenge? Come on, give us a challenge that you've overcome.
Oh man,
you could talk about the star fruit even.
Yeah, star fruit, man. I got my first star fruit the other day. I had a company send me. It was fast growing trees. They sent me a bunch of exotic fruits that I got a Jabba de Caba. I got a star fruit. And I got another one. One of them died. But the star fruit man made it. And I was like, dude, I'm never going to get a star fruit. I'm never going to get a star fruit. And then me and Phil were out looking at the garden. He's like, dude, you got a star fruit. And I was like, shut up. And I ate it yesterday. It's freaking delicious, dude. Star fruit tastes like a green apple. Like almost identical to a green apple. It's very similar. Yeah.
Kind of the texture of a cucumber. But imagine all the flavors of a green apple it was fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nick, you've got some citrus growing. What kind of citrus do you have in your awesome epic greenhouse, by the way?
Oh, let's talk about
that greenhouse, a labor of love to say the least. But we've got, I think, 7 different varieties of citrus. I'm most excited about the yuzu because like anytime you go to like a fancy restaurant, it's like, oh, we've got yuzu infused this and blah, blah, blah. Right? Like yuzu, I'm really excited about. Obviously, any of the finger limes are super fun, right? They're in the butt because they're prickly, right? But and also my kefir lime is just the best. I
They're
mean,
gnarly
I
looking.
first found them in when I was in Kauai last year, and you rip off the leaves and it smells like Fruit Loops. Like it literally smells like Fruit Loops. So it's my party trick when I host dinners in the greenhouse. I'm like, hey, ripping off leaves, smell this, smell that.
It's the
So
best part
yeah,
about citrus for sure. Is like
oh,
the aromatics of it, and even the kefir lime, like with it's very like perfumey off the fruit rind itself too. So it's like all these different stages. I picked up my first kefir
yeah.
lime this year, and everyone's like, "Cook with the leaves," and I was like, "Cook with the leaves?" And then I was like,
Hmm.
and I went down the rabbit hole, and Nick's like, "Yeah, dude, like you just said it again. Like there's all these flavor profiles that we try to mimic in processed foods." I would say that a lot with like lilikoi or passion fruit too. Same deal.
Yeah, yeah,
That same candy profile, but you're like, it's just fruit, it's just food. It can taste like this.
absolutely.
I had someone just comment and said they're going to try to grow citrus from seed. I would tell them you can go ahead, you can do that, but I will let you know that a lot of citrus, same thing with avocados, are grafted. A lot of people that grow avocados, like they see those little boats and they grow them, they give them the sprout in the water.
Yeah.
They'll grow them for 10 years and they'll get their first avocado, and it doesn't taste anything like the avocado that you got, brother. Same thing with the citrus. I mean, it's probably going to come out tasting a little bit different than the one you had because most of them are grafted, and it's you can definitely do it, but there's a reason they graft a lot of these citrus and avocados instead of growing them from seed. One, it's just I think the only thing they really grow stuff from seed is like those papayas we got. They grow papayas really fast from seed every single year, but most of your citrus and avocados are going to be grafted. So
Well, if you're in a colder climate, just be considerate of like if it's true to type, like say even you do an air layer on some of your citrus, it's gonna be a tall tree. That's gonna be an orange tree, right? So like
Yeah.
all the small potted ones we grow are all in that trifoliate rootstock or flying dragon rootstock for sure, which actually makes it cold hardier too.
I've got a buddy that's air layered all these citrus and he sells them, but they grow really fast on their own rootstock. Like Meyer lemons, air layered versus grafted, it's a big difference.
Right. Oh, is it? I'm always curious to see like how fast they grow because California, where my in-laws are, like my sister-in-law lives out there, and they have orange trees, right? You get like that big thing that bring the oranges down, like the ball retriever, and it's a different game. But
yeah.
Nick, how big are your citrus now in your greenhouse?
So we first planted in spring. Everything
Yeah.
is in pots,
Nice.
and they're fast growing trees, right? So varying sizes here and there, but most no bigger than 3-4 feet tall. Now we're pushing probably 6 on my key lime, which is
Never
great.
had
And
that
it's funny
close.
because I could put them in the ground in theory, right, and they would do well.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to keep them small, right? I don't
Right.
even with the fruit trees that are in my orchard now, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. I don't want those over 7 feet tall. I'm going to
Right.
keep those tight, tidy, more lateral branches at least. At least at a 45 degree. But yeah, I don't want them to be tall. I don't want to pick
Yeah.
and the thing is, I've got 22 feet tall ceilings in the greenhouse,
Which
so
is epic.
which is
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's an awesome green. Yeah, tell me about the
Yeah.
greenhouse because I didn't see the video yet, so it's break it down for us.
So my wife and I, we moved from LA because she grew up in Michigan. We wanted somewhere that was as climate safe as possible, and we actually left 2 months before the fires, which was pretty gnarly because we were 2
Wow.
blocks away from the evacuation zones.
Right.
And you think about how climate change impacts a lot of our work too, right? It's huge,
Right.
huge. Native plants are getting pushed out of their ranges. You're able to grow new things you couldn't grow before in certain spots. So we knew we wanted to be in an area that was somewhat climate safe. We find this house in Michigan. I couldn't tell you what the house looked like when we first saw it because I just see this greenhouse, which is 14 by 34. It is completely dilapidated. There's like 7 broken windows. There's no floor.
Oh,
It's just
man.
dirt. Like they just put potting soil on the dirt. And I said to myself, I'm like, okay, if we can get this house, this is going to be the project. Like this is it. And so I spent all winter with my wife, Anna, literally scraping out all the excess potting soil, layering in gravel, compacting it, putting in, which was really difficult. I repurposed some really cool tiles from an old job site. as like a floating floor in the center with black granite around the edges so that I can water directly into there without worrying about any kind of drainage issues. And it has turned into an amazing space. Problem is I need like 1,000 more plants to make it feel right, because I have so much vertical space. I can do anything.
It doesn't take long. It doesn't take
long. Honestly, it's Parkinson's law. Like, you will fill up that space.
You could grow vining plants all along the wall and have like a second layer.
That's the plan. So what in LA, I fell in love with the bougainvillea, right? And so that was my thing. It's like, okay, I'm leaving LA, but I'm still able to grow the things I love the most.
Yeah.
So passion vine, which is a prolific 20 to 30 feet a year, it can grow. I'm going to do some passion vine. I'm definitely going to do some of the Thumbergia. I don't know if you've ever seen Thumbergia. It grows everywhere, right? But it's really cute, like orange or kind of like cream colored flowers. That's been vining all over the place. So I'm going to have some fun trying to get vertical and use that space in a different way.
I saw this. I was at a greenhouse in Dallas, and in the middle of the greenhouse, they had they had like a
That's cool.
almost like a chandelier of hanging baskets, and they were and they were growing sweet potatoes in the hanging baskets. And
sweet potato vine. Huh.
Yeah, and because it's going to grow a sweet potato inside of there, so not only can you eat the sweet potato, you can eat the vine. They even had some rosemary and like thyme, creeping thyme growing in them, and so like they were utilizing every single ounce of that, like every inch of that space, including the vertical space. So that might be a cool idea.
Do they have a hoist to lower it so that they could access it?
I asked him about that. I was like, man, y'all should have like a winch, like electronic winch that raises it up and down. But apparently they have irrigation that runs to it, and they have a scissor lift that they use to go up and down to pick stuff. But they donate all their stuff to a nonprofit, which is really cool. Really cool. This is at the Texas State Fair.
That is dope. That's given me some good inspiration. I don't know if you've ever been to Longwood Gardens out in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, I'm partial because I grew up in New York. I studied and took classes at NYBG, but man, Longwood is creative. Like, they've got these hanging spherical balls of just, whatever kind of flower they're growing in the season. And it is truly stunning. So definitely want some kind of plant chandelier decor at some point.
You could do a catwalk second level, like a theater catwalk down. That would be cool.
I thought about
that'd be really cool. That's like the
the ropes, like you climb a ladder, you get like an aerial view down. Could be very fun. But that's
like the one in DC where you can walk around the second tier up top, and then you look down. It's kind of epic, and you get to that middle story.
We'll help you design it. I mean, basically, we'll do it right here. So.
Perfect.
It's so funny hearing people talk about like having lunch in their greenhouse. Like here in Texas, my greenhouse, you can be inside of it like enclosed for maybe 2 months out of the year. The rest of the year, it's so hot. It's like a sauna, dude. It's so nuts. It's so crazy. But like in Michigan,
even with the shade cloth, like it gets hot in there. Like I've got a 50% aluminum, which is honestly game changer. I drops 10, 15 degrees. Plants are happy because I was roasting some of the plants initially because I put one on the inside. It just wasn't hitting. So I got a custom one made for that because it's just huge space. And
aluminum is the way to go now, right?
It's so reflective. It makes a big difference. And the plant's growth since that point, because we had a house sitter at one point who we were talking about watching plants. Like it's just so hard. Like I lost like 3 or 4 plants. I was like, oh man.
I made the mistake of adding a clear tarp over one of my hoop houses, and I just got a clear tarp, not even thinking about UV damage.
Yeah.
That's something that some people don't think about, like with like greenhouses. You got to it's just like roasting. I didn't realize what was going on.
Yeah.
I
had an allspice tree.
Solar oven.
Really, it was tough. It was tough, but we've really conquered that now, and just in time for the winter. Fortunately, I got two mini splits in there, and I'm gonna try to keep it 60 degrees all year long. That's the goal.
That's awesome.
Nice. That's awesome.
That is so cool, man. Yes.
I think you need some hardy kiwi too. That might be a really cool.
Or Destin. We saw Destin's vanilla bean orchid.
I just got a
Oh.
vanilla bean orchid from Logie.
Oh, so his started
Yeah.
climbing up the fence out. His is like, oh, mine's outside. I was like, oh, good for you, man. But
It's
um,
it's on the north facing side of my house, and it's climbing
Right.
onto the bricks of the house, like just
That's
going
a
up.
perfect spot for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Very
No,
cool.
That's where I'm growing it. So I'm at to cut it down here in about 2 or 3 months. But yeah, I'm excited. I'll
Nice.
propagate it. I'll propagate everything I've got though. So that'll be a cool video. But yeah, man, no, that's so exciting. So what? So your wife grew up in Michigan. That's why y'all moved to Michigan.
One of the reasons, right? You know,
Yeah.
we knew we wanted land. We looked in upstate New York, a little north of where my family's from, and you know, we were just trying to find somewhere that we can get at least 5 acres. Now we've got 10, which is great. We got 2 barns. The greenhouse is obviously an added bonus. But the key that I think people forget is like you might have acreage, but is it usable acreage? You
Right.
know,
Mhm.
and I
That's
think
a big
people
one right there.
they don't think about it. They just see the listing. Oh, 10 acres, great. And then they realize how much it costs if you need to take out a tree. You know, that's where people get in trouble. So we've done some tree work on the property just for safety purposes, and also just opening up some light in the canopy for the orchard in particular. Probably going to add 2 or 3 hours of sunlight in the morning and then in the evening. So we're really excited about it.
Oh, awesome, man.
And
you get-
it's a labor of love. I just know that because I've got 7 acres, and like 5 of it is not useful because it's just completely wooded. So it's big trees too, and
beautiful too.
Yeah,
but it's not as easy for what we want to do.
Yeah, so I've slowly been clearing it by hand, and if you ever have to remove a stump by hand, just don't do it. I did it like 5 years ago. It was like an oak tree, probably like this big around, and I did it by hand. I was like, I'm never doing that again.
How long did that take you?
It took me 2 days. To 2 days.
That's not bad.
And I couldn't get it out of the hole. I had to cut it in half to like remove it out of the hole because it was so heavy.
Did you chain it and pull it with the truck?
Yep, I've chained it. I pulled it with the truck. I've done that. Mostly just dig down and axe out the surrounding roots, and then you push it back and forth till you snap the bottom one, and then you have to like chain it to like pull it out of the hole. I'm never gonna just don't do it.
Dude, I got to introduce you to my tree guy because he will grind a stump for $100.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. No, around here, we usually what we'll do is, and I'm sure a lot of people try this, is whenever we have a stump, we typically will just pile all the limbs up around the stump and then let it sit for a while. And then at one point, burn all the limbs with the stump, and they kind of just help it break down and then burn it at the same time. But yeah, it's with some trees, it's harder than that, Unless we'll start using poisons and stuff. But the grinding process, I love watching the videos of the dudes with the grinders. It's so much fun to watch. And Josh, you use like rotten stump wood. That's like your secret ingredient and like stuff, right?
It is
stump wood.
Nick, you might find this on your property. So one of the things that I discovered, because I've got a lot of like trees that were cut, 20, 30 years ago. Well, the stumps rot out and they leave this perfect material inside, and it's like rotten stump wood. And you can actually dig it out, and it just sort of crumbles in your hand and it holds moisture perfectly. So I'll bring that and put that in my planting hole when I'm planting trees and mix it in, and it just gives this like a lot more airiness.
I've seen that before, and I've seen other folks who will plant into that stump area as well. It's almost like a cocoa coir kind of feeling.
Exactly what it's like. Yep.
Yeah.
It's the secret sauce. You just dropped it, Destin, like it was nothing, but that's cool.
Josh is like, I found the secret ingredient. This is it.
It's not a secret anymore.
Not a secret anymore. Nick already knew it. He's like, I know what's up, man.
It's good stuff.
It's good stuff. Well, tell me about, so you have an orchard. Like, what are your chill hours like? So what does that mean for varieties that you've gotten?
So we just put it in about, I'd say like a month ago.
It was a sweet tool.
It's funny. Yeah. Augers are the best. My back can't handle it anymore. It's just, my wife was like, you better spend the $400 and get this done. So we're in New York at the time, and Fast Growing Trees called me, and they were like, hey, like, your order's ready, but like, we're sending it now. I'm like, well, what do you mean now? I'm not home. And they're like, well, we don't want you to wait until October because there could be frost hour. I'm like, it's so warm now. Like summer's extending so much farther. Like I was planning to do this when I was back. So I literally got on a plane, flew back to Michigan, and we planted 24 trees and 6 raspberry bushes and did the whole thing in about 7 hours. And then went
Oh
home.
man.
Oh my goodness.
It was a crazy day. But we're zone 6. We get decent chill hours and low temperatures like -5 or so. We're able to do most of the things I want to do. We've
Perfect.
got about, so the garden is designed in a circle. I don't really like uniform boxes as much. There's so many squares and rectangles in a lot of gardening now. You don't see a lot of squares and rectangles in nature. So I went with a circular design with a native plant bed that encircles the garden entirely, and then designed the rows of the orchard to kind of spread out like rays of sunshine coming out from the center.
Wow.
So they're
Probably
all
some
spaced at
elements of
different
the
angles.
Fibonacci sequence in there somewhere.
Yeah, probably. And so it very much from a drone perspective looks like, a sundial in the center with these rows coming out. And I've got 4 nectarines, 4 peaches, 3 cherries, 3 plums, 3 pears, 3 apricot, 6 different raspberries, 7 blueberries, and I think 7 blackberries.
Oh yeah, Josh, how
so-
about that, man?
Oh my goodness.
It's
All
a
right.
good,
Did you say
it's a good
apples in there?
space.
Did I hear
Oh
an
yeah,
apple?
and apples, 5 apples.
5 apples. Okay. Well, you got enough to cross pollinate, so you don't have to worry about that.
I'll be good. And the key, and I've done a few, smaller orchards for some of my clients in New York. But I think one of the things that people often forget is just making sure your fruit trees are blooming at the same times. Because a European variety might be blooming different time of year than your Asian variety,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
if it's not going to sync up, timing is everything in cross pollination, as with many things. So it's good. It's really good.
I am so excited for you. I
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to say. Anytime somebody puts in that many trees, that's a lot to keep up with, though. Mulching, pruning.
It is, but honestly, Josh, I've been learning a lot. Just watching your page and seeing the tips that you have. My bread and butter and sweet spot is typically in the raised bed, row crops kind of thing, and native plants. But this has been a really fun new challenge for me, like we talked about earlier, right? That next frontier of gardening and growing food.
Right.
So the thing I'm most excited about this fall is getting all the plants at the nurseries on the cheap and building out my little fruit tree guilds around each one for some good companion planting.
Fall.
Absolutely.
So people would often think that spring is the best time to buy fruit trees because that's usually when they're pushing it, But the best time I found to buy fruit trees is the fall because people don't want to store them over winter. They want to get new stuff in the spring. So like
Get them cheap.
Yeah, man, get them now. Like I bought my papaya last year. It was 4 foot tall for like $5. It was like marked
No way.
It was like 80% off, man. It was nuts, And I overwintered it in my greenhouse, but you don't even need a greenhouse to overwinter some of the stuff. You can like bring it indoors, sit in a windowsill. Some of this stuff goes completely dormant, So like, it's real easy to do this stuff. And a lot of times you only need to protect some of these fruit trees for like a couple days at a time, especially your citrus. You just need to protect it when it gets like down to freezing, even if you have satsumas, you don't really need to protect them unless you get down to like 10 degrees,
Yeah. Citrus is harder than people think.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Oh man, citrus is fun. I'm stoked for you with the greenhouse. Like imagine having citrus in Michigan. That sounds so cool to me. It's like what you can get away with and push in different places.
That's the plan. The problem in the greenhouse, and I'd love some advice here, is just what am I going to do about pollination, right? Am I going to have to go through with the paintbrush and be hand pollinating, or am I going to have to open it up for a couple days and let the nature do its thing?
I would say for the citrus, it would help to open up the windows, try to get some pollinators in there. This is a really good advantage of figs because they are self-ripening in parthenocarpic that you don't have to worry about that. And but I don't know, Josh, what do you think on like the citrus? Because I know some of them claim self-fertile as well.
Yeah, some of it is like you can shake the tree a little. I know that's a little cheating, but some of the pollen is like wind pollinated. But using a paintbrush is painful. Okay, I've done it, and it's just especially for citrus, because sometimes you'll get like 150 blooms on a lemon tree, and you'll end up with 30 fruit because they're all close together.
Yeah.
So I would open it up and allow some insects to get in there for a time on nice warm days, nice sunny warm days. That's what's going to attract the bees to come in.
Well, even if your greenhouse is closed up, you're going to get stuff in there. I mean, people.
Oh, you should see the stuff that gets in already. It's crazy.
I mean, even ants will pollinate your stuff. Like even ants that get in will pollinate. So
you might be good with just what's in, like the little ones that come in. Yeah.
So Des has a little, like it looks like a vibrating toothbrush, but it's got a little pointer that she uses like on her little aquaponic. And she just like, because they call it like buzz pollination, and it's like where tomatoes, like bees just get around it and they vibrate it and like, and so like just the like a little, like they make them, you can get them online, like they're like not very expensive. Just a little vibrating toothbrush. It has a little nodule. You can just set it on the flowers just to vibrate them and kind of disturb that pollen a little bit. Make a good video too. I mean, it's always good for content. But I mean, like I was at that greenhouse up in Dallas, and I asked the same question because they had a bunch of cucumbers, and he said they always ask about that, and they have self-fertile cucumbers. Like every single cucumber, it's a Japanese slicer. I forget the name, but it has like every single flower has a cucumber, and like,
that's amazing.
That's amazing.
It's so crazy, dude. Like,
that's rare too, because one thing I'd encourage everyone who's kind of getting into this world of growing food and pollination is just because something says self-fertile doesn't mean it won't be better if you've got cross-pollination and some more action in that space, right? The whole point is creating an ecosystem, and anything that is self-fertile is not really creating that ecosystem as much as bringing in more wildlife into that space. So it's a multifaceted challenge in many ways.
You realize as you go along how many facets are in this whole like gardening piece. You're like, oh, well, I guess I do need the pollinators. Well, in that case, like, do I need more bees? Or like, oh, maybe like, what's over here? Well, now I need to do succession planting. And then obviously we're talking about companion planting. And like, once you discover how one stone fruit works, you want all of the stone fruits, and then you want some others. And then the list goes on. And it's just, I mean, clearly we're all on here because we all love it. We don't like the off button doesn't happen. You just keep going in your brain. At night we go on and we're like, oh, you know what? Let's do like that one more time. But
I have a question for y'all. For y'all. Have you ever, because this happens to me at least once a month, do you ever get the nightmare that your trees are dying?
Yes.
Or
it's like I get them where like, did I prune it too much? Is this the one?
Did I close the garage door is what I get, because I bring all my citrus in on these big carts that I built that roll them into the garage, and then I bring them out when it's warm, and I'm like, did I close the garage door? And I'll run down. It'll be like midnight. I'll run down, open up the garage. Okay, I closed it. They're good. I put like a remote temperature gauge so I can put it by my bedside, which is really sad, and I could just look over and see what the temperature is.
I mean, I've been that weird guy at like 10:30 at night, 11, putting tarps in my greenhouse, being like, I need the temperature differential just for tonight. Like, I know there's a hole, or like, oh, I'm gonna roll the dice. I mean, I did the accident. I had a Harvey lemon I left out in 25 degrees, and it survived, but I only know that because it survived. Did I want to do it? No. Did I forget? Absolutely. So
I don't have it most of the year. I only have it like the 2 or 3 months where we're getting actually freezing temperatures in the greenhouse, and I have my heater out there run on a separate breaker now, so it's not tripping. But I used to have like my breaker would trip, or my greenhouse has a plastic tarp, and so like it gets really windy and it catches that wind. So like, I'll wake up several times during the night and have to peek out the back window, because like, is my greenhouse still there? Because you get 40-mile-an-hour winds and a freezing temperature, and you basically have a giant sailboat in your backyard. It's like.
And Destin, you've had some like un-Texas like winters where it got down to like 19 or 20 or something, and you're like,
dude, I had 5 inches of snow last year, dude.
Talk about climate change. It's colder there in Texas than it is here.
It's nuts, man. Well, it was funny because I had 5 inches of snow, and this past couple weeks ago when I went to New Orleans, they had 10 inches of snow. They had 10 inches of snow during that same storm we had last year. Like they're a little bit further north. They had 10 inches of snow in like Baton Rouge and New Orleans, which
That's
is
crazy.
Crazy to me, dude. Crazy. So I mean, you just got to be prepared for everything. I'm having to add another greenhouse in my backyard, so I've got to have another breaker and another outlet installed. So like it's always something, dude. You know, you're gonna find out, Nick. Like the greenhouse is never big enough, man. It's never big enough.
I mean, I can't wait till I hit that phase, because I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, I could fit about 1,000 more plants in here right now. But we'll get there. Once we get the catwalk, then we're in business.
That's the key. The most extreme thing that I've done, and this is a little extreme, is sometimes your fruit trees will flower early, and then you'll have a late season freeze.
Did you cover them all?
Well, I started by covering them. I tried that, and then they got too big. Then I tried the sprinkler method, which is where you cover them with water to freeze them, because it's colder to have frozen limbs than it is for the air temperature, because it's when it gets below 28 degrees is when the blooms die. So you can actually coat them all with ice with a sprinkler. And this is what commercial growers will do.
And actually, and the blueberry growers in North Carolina do this. They have sprinkler systems just for this reason. And they will freeze everything and just keep it running, and everything stays just at 32. That insulating principle of ice.
But the last 2 years was the most extreme. I got out there about 3 a.m. and I would light small buckets with fires between each tree. Smut pots they're called. But I would set fires between each tree, and I would go out there, and I had a temperature gauge. You know, if you scroll back, it's crazy, because I'm sitting out there 4 a.m. trying to shoot a video, you know, these fires going on, and it worked. And I got like 1,000 fruit that year that would have gotten 0, because I kept it up. Like just 2 or 3 degrees was all it needed. But that's what a lot of growers do. Now they've moved away from smut pots to helicopters, which actually like pushes warm air down. But you'll see this in certain orchards where they set see if you can, see that device there, the smudge pot. Yeah, there you go.
It's just like really popular in like Eastern Europe and China and stuff like that.
Yep, that's it right there. So you could build your own version of this.
My buddy Jorge's got a really good thing he does. Well, he does it inside of his greenhouse, but he takes a crawfish boiler, like a big giant pot of water, and he obviously has to go in really quick because he's got propane in there, you know, running. But he heats his greenhouse with steam. He boils water in his greenhouse. But I don't know how eco-friendly this is. I'm pretty sure it's like you use motor oil in these smudge pots. Like this is so terrible.
I've seen this in person here though, because we have a lot of peach orchards, and I've seen them lining up, and they all stand out there and feed the fires, and they just get a bunch of people out and just light them up for 3 hours in the morning.
Wow.
It probably stinks so bad.
I mean, Nick, you got options now, man.
I was going to say this. I'm taking notes here. I'm going to be out there at 4 a.m. just like Josh at some point. We got snow April 21st this year. So that would be devastating. I mean, granted, this next year, I'm not worried about fruit. I'm going to knock off most of the fruit anyway.
Right.
But, you know, year 3 is when I'm expecting some returns here. So we'll see.
I mean, unless you're growing figs, then you're going to get figs like next year, pretty much. I mean,
true.
We talked a little bit about your figs, before we came on. We just had Figtoberfest. Are you a fig enthusiast? Have you had figs before?
I love figs. Figs were big out in California. I enjoy. I don't know if anyone follows the Fig Hunter. But you know, some really great work going over there and cloning and preserving some of these really cool species that are very symbolic of just resilience and being able to grow anywhere. Right? It's awesome.
He sent us 500 cuttings for Figtoberfest.
Oh my God! No way.
He sends us free cuttings every single year. He sent us 500.
He's the man.
What was it? What was the variety? Carrie Lynn or Shelly Lynn, or what was it? Kelly Lynn? Kelly
Lynn is like 1845, and all the extras. Shout out to Brazoria County Master Gardener Program, because they got the rest of the cuttings that weren't on the giveaway table for where we did our propagation little technique class, and yeah, that was really cool. So thanks, Fig Hunter family, for sure. Priscilla and Dave.
Absolutely.
And you've had him on the podcast before, right? He's been on.
Yes, yes, and
Yeah.
we're gonna have him back on. We just got to get the logistics right. The last time we had him on, we had Priscilla in one place, and then we had him like in a vehicle, like on the side of the road, like on the one.
Oh yeah, there's our table. That was so much fun. People are like, this. I'm like, this is a lot, and they're like, yeah, this is a lot. Are you get tired? I'm like, I do this for hours by myself. So the fact that we're doing propagations with other people where I can talk to you about figs, I am in a really happy place. So
Yes, yeah. So we were giving away cuttings, and they were going away and going right there and propagating them, and then they were buying some cuttings from me, and they'd go ahead and just go ahead and propagate them
they
right there.
come over to me. We pot them right in the same pot, and we'd wrap them in film. So like Nick, that'll be the next thing you do when you start growing these figs. I don't know if you've tried propagation before with fig trees, but you may have tried with plenty of other plants. But they're a really fun fruit tree to propagate with.
Yeah, I've done it. I've done the Ficus lyrata, right? Not exactly the figs you want to be eating, but it's figs are great. They're definitely something I'm going to enjoy, and I can do them inside and out. I think in my climate with some of the cold hardy species. I think Chicago's
Hardy Chicago.
Chicago.
And I call them of the greater Mount Etna family of figs because you have a few others that I really like Marseille Black. I have one called Brooklyn Park JD. I mean, all of these came from somewhere else, so they always have a story associated with them, right? In the U.S. But a lot of they're club-like shaped leaves. Those figs can die down to the ground. You can mulch them, and they'll come up every year. And they'll fruit for you.
I'm a huge fan of figs. As a plant-based person, right? You go to these events and all these things. There's rarely anything you can eat, but all the charcuterie boards have a killer fig spread. So I just sit there. I just sit there with the fig spread all night, and it's the best.
Awesome. Something else that would probably do really well in Michigan would be pomegranates. Pomegranates are so cold hardy.
Pomegranates are a sneaky one. Not what I would have expected, but in my research, I could probably plant them in ground and they would be okay. Now, granted, I want to put it in a south-facing side. I want to make sure it stays, well watered. But in general, I think I could probably get away with some inside the greenhouse and probably some outside is even easier.
Yeah, a lot of those Russian varieties, like your Salvatsky, the Parfyankos, like that, they're pretty cold tolerant. They're grown in Russia, northern China. And they grow like crepe myrtles. They grow like wildfire, man. They're really easy to propagate. They're really easy to propagate. Like you can make I've been giving away pomegranates. I got so many.
Wow.
They're really easy to propagate. Really easy to propagate.
And I bet you the deer don't like them either.
They're very thorny. They're very thorny. I don't have any deer, thank God, in my backyard. But if I did, it's very thorny. So I'm sure they could get to it, but it gets pretty tall too. I mean, Phil, mine's like 10, 15 feet tall now. I mean,
mine's pushing 8 feet in its second year in the ground.
And the squirrels will mess
with the flowers before they fruit sometimes. And I mean, I have an ongoing squirrel saga in my backyard property, but
everyone's got some pests that they are at war with.
I think I have enough experiences to write a sitcom now with all these squirrels. And it's
you should do a cartoon, Phil. That would be really funny. A squirrel cartoon, and then it steals the figs, but it teaches lessons about the figs at the same time.
Exactly.
Nick, you've done some children's work, right, Nick? I mean, is it books or shows? Like, tell us about that. I'm really curious about that side of what you do.
So I think y'all will appreciate this too. So I started this YouTube thing, which season 3 is coming out next spring, called FarmerNick Jr. And basically, it is me as FarmerNick, but he doesn't know anything about plants, and he learns from his imaginary friend Plant, also played by me, just dressed in a big, giant nursery pot and a sunflower hat, about plants. And the reason I wanted to create this was because, growing up, my role models were Steve Irwin and Michael Jordan, right? Those were my guys. Mm-hmm. But there is not a role model for young kids, especially young boys, that teaches them about plants and the environment. And I saw Phil. You've got kids there, right? Like,
yep.
they are so in tune with nature from a young age. It is so instinctual and natural. Yet somewhere along the way, especially with the boys, oh, that gardening is a thing that girls do. We don't do this. That it doesn't nurture that level of empathy that most boys are born with, I think. So to show young boys that you can be silly and funny and masculine, do all these things, but also care about the plants in your garden, that's the ultimate goal here.
It's the ultimate goal. And it's just like the greater understanding of knowing where your food comes from. And you
Exactly.
hit the nail on the head. Like I grew up being in the garden with family only. Like there was that information was only passed to me through family members, not in school, not through friend circles, not through older years. So like getting back into it, the only memories I have are ages 10 and below, right?
Yeah.
And so you encouraging any young kid just to get those memories, especially if they don't have that from a family member, where are they going to get it from? So I really kudos to you, man.
Oh, I
Yeah.
appreciate it. And honestly, I think, and I joke about this all the time, having done some TV stuff, is that plants don't make good TV because, shooting with Netflix, I was like, yeah, this garden's going to look amazing in 3 years. And I'm like, well, we only have 12 hours. So, it's that level of patience. There's no big reveal before and after, right? So
Right.
it's hard for media in today's world, which is so fast, to capture the impact of a garden in its truest form. So,
Correct.
like come back in 3 years, my attention span's 30 seconds. So it's tough.
That's tough.
No, I want to talk about your Netflix and then your book as well. But we usually about the 40-minute mark we do the trivia. Let's do the trivia, and then we'll talk about how you became the plant coach and how you got involved with Netflix and everything. Go ahead, Josh, take it over, dude.
All right. So usually trivia, we let the people in the comments go first, and then we sort of weigh in after that. So, and then if it's something that you know something about, Nick, that you're like, oh yeah, I've already tried that, we want you to speak to that thing, because I did some research on sort of what you're doing to build these out. Anyway, so they usually go from easy to a little bit more difficult. All right, we ready? This is so easy. I don't even know if I want to ask this when it's so easy, but it's all about companion plants today. So for tomatoes, which of the following plants makes the best companion plant for tomatoes to enhance flavor and repel pests? This is multiple choice, okay? So A is sage, B is basil, C is cabbage, and D is dill. What is the best companion plant of sage, basil, cabbage, or dill? Oh, man, our audience is so good.
Don't say let the Instagram because
let Instagram catch up.
IG's got a little bit of a lag. Does it say which kind? Because there's so many varieties of that now. I mean, is it? Let's see. Okay.
Well, my question, and Phil, you might be able to answer this, is can you really taste a difference in the tomato when basil is planted near it? Because you probably know this. You've probably done both ways, but you're muted right now, Phil.
Them together, So it's like, but I don't know, actually. I know it helps. I was curious to see what else you're going to throw out there, because you're like, what makes it taste the best? I was like, oh man, there's other companion plants. So now I got to think about this.
I just know I know it draws in a lot of pollinators. I know basil, like typically, like here in Houston, we grow a lot of Thai basil, and it comes back every single year. That holy basil, I love it because whenever you water it, it smells like Fruit Loops. Like I love it so much. But it brings those like I don't even grow it for like pesto. I grow it just for pollinators. And it brings in so many pollinators that I don't know if it adds to flavor or not.
I have an Asian dish with the Thai basil and eggplant, and then garlic. Boom. Add your Asian sauces. Done. So that's mine. And then, but this year was the year of basil for me. Like I almost dedicated a whole bed to it. Like with tomatoes, we were strewn into it, but I was just like ruffling my arms in it, and you get the basil all over you, and I'm like, oh,
it takes a lot of basil to make a good pesto, so a whole bed makes sense to me.
Well, Phil cuts his with spinach and stuffing, so he gets his kids to eat more veggies. So
smart.
Yeah,
Yes.
they don't know it's in there. So it's like, oh, I want pesto. They love pesto. They eat pesto twice a week now. But
Dude.
they also, they also eat spinach twice a week. Surprise!
Phil cooked his signature pesto pasta while we're down here with Italian sausage, and man, that was so good. That's going to be on rotation in my house from now on. Like,
Yeah, you guys got it. I was so
Yeah, man.
something like when you travel and you're like, I just need a taste of home or something when you're down there, and I was like, let me cook for you guys, and I cooked it and I do sausage.
It was my wife's
with
birthday and everything.
pesto, and we got some red wine, some pecorino cheese, and we sat and had a meal. And you guys, I knew it was good because there's two things happen at the table that I know when things are good. One, people get quiet because they're busy eating. Two, they go back for seconds, and both of those things happened. And it was I was very honored, Destin. So thank you for enjoying that.
Yes, absolutely. I
I
appreciate
just
it.
wanted to eat at the table with you guys. I was looking at the photos that you put
Well,
out.
yeah,
on Facebook.
you
I was
should have
so-
been here then, Josh. You should have
I
been
would have
here.
if I could have. But Nick, do you
He was
do a lot
holding
of,
down the fort.
you do a lot of companion planting in the garden? Have you
Yep.
done that route?
Big on marigolds and basil in the tomato
Perfect.
beds. I've never done a bed of tomatoes without basil, so I couldn't tell you what the differences would be. But yeah, I could imagine it certainly is adding, at least aromatically, something to your taste sensation there.
Okay, all right.
See,
All right.
I thought it was gonna be borage. I thought borage was gonna be your answer because I know borage is a good companion plant for
Borage
tomatoes
is
as
good.
well.
For pollination, I'm not sure how much pest deterrence it does, though.
Usually, it's like a trap crop. Usually, they go for the borage
Mm.
first instead of the tomatoes. Is what I heard. Same thing with like radishes. Like Germany uses radishes as a trap crop.
Can we talk about borage for a second? Because one of my questions I want to ask is, have you ever mispronounced something on social media and everybody lambasted you? Because I would always say barrage, and they're like, "What? What's barrage?" Is it just me, or has anybody else mispronounced the plant?
That's actually a great
Completely
rage bait engagement strategy. Just mispronouncing the names on
yeah.
purpose.
Yeah, I mean, my name's Destin, so it gets mispronounced every single day. It's when they say Destin, I've heard Justin, Dustin, Jestin, like the most bizarre names you ever heard. So
But you know what? I was watching the British baking show, and they called it oregano, and I had oregano
That's right.
instead of
they do that
oregano.
out there.
And so
Yeah.
different accents, different parts of the world could also throw it
like
through curveballs
basil instead of
I-
basil.
Basil.
I
Yeah.
do prefer.
Herbs.
I prefer herb to herb. I do prefer herb. I like herb better than herb. And we found
That's
out
for another
because
time.
Martha Stewart calls it herb, so that's why it's right. That's how you know it's right.
If Martha says it, it is truth.
All right, let's jump into a little bit more advanced question. Apple trees are tough, right? But they suffer from a lot of pests and disease. Now, there are some things you can plant around your apple trees, but I want to know which one of these is the most effective long-term companion for apple trees that provide both pest deterrence and disease prevention while supporting pollinators. You have 4 options: chamomile, which does improve some flavor; chives,
Another
salty-
pronunciation.
Enlighten me, Destin.
It's chamomile. It's chamomile. It's not chamomile.
Oh, I thought you were going to correct chives, and I was like,
Oh,
how else
no,
did you
no.
say that?
What's the other alternate pronunciation for chives? That's what I don't know. Okay, so
Cheese.
chamomile, is that it? Chamomile? Okay, chamomile, chives, lavender, lavender, or dill. Which of these 4 makes the best companion plant for apple trees?
For disease, pests, over
disease,
and helps with pollinators.
Interesting. When I think about it, I know apples bloom or first thing in the spring. They're going to bloom before they put on leaves. So I'm thinking about which of these companion plants would be blooming around the same time as the apples. Trying to work through that a little bit.
We're getting mixed answers here.
This is a good one, dude.
We went from green circle to black diamond real quick.
They get harder.
Besides chives, I have a hard time keeping most of the other 3 alive. Either it's too hot or I water too much.
Oh, what was it? You could instead of chamomile, it's like chamomile.
Chamomile.
Oh my goodness. Are you all ready for the answer?
What is it, dude?
Chives are the best option.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
That
actually
makes sense though.
I plant garlic chives around the base of all my apple trees. They self-seed every year, and they deter multiple pests, right? So not just the smell and the compounds deter aphids, but they also prevent apple scab, which is a type of disease that forms on the apple itself. And if you keep it around the base of the tree, it can deter other things, and it does encourage pollinators and certain hoverflies and things. So chives are probably one of the best things you can plant at the base of your tree, and they don't compete with the root system because they're so shallow.
Very shallow.
Interesting. Well,
That's good.
a lot of people here in Texas have issues with like armadillos digging up their flower beds and stuff like that. And so I wonder if something like chives or just more alliums, because people do say that, you know, onions and, you know, alliums prevent, you know, digging because not a lot of stuff eats alliums. But I wonder if something like that would keep like armadillos from digging around. I love armadillos. I think they're really cute, but they do some damage, man. It's interesting.
Fascinating.
Well, what do you got next?
All right,
dude?
next one. So walnut trees. If you have walnut trees, they do produce something called juglun, which is creates an allelopathic or allelopathic, depending on the pronunciation there, effect on certain plants around it. Now, which plants can tolerate the juglun and sometimes even thrive nearby?
Are you saying juggalo or what are you saying?
Juggernaut.
Juglun.
Juggling.
Juglun.
Lanolin, like sheep's wool.
Which, remember, in recent episodes, we talked about sunflowers having the same type of effect in raised beds.
And I knew the walnuts had this, but I didn't know there was one that could grow with the walnuts.
Fennel has it too. I found out hard way.
Yeah.
There is. So things that can grow under black walnut trees: tomatoes, blueberries, pawpaws, or potatoes. Which ones can tolerate being planted around a walnut tree? Tomatoes, blueberries, pawpaws, or potatoes?
Well, two of those are nightshades, right? Potatoes and tomatoes. So that's narrow. So those are two common. So maybe
multiple choice is helpful with this because it makes me think about natives.
I'll give you a hint. Think about its natural environment. What might be growing naturally below it and tolerate it?
You said
setting.
Pawpaws and what else?
Tomatoes, blueberries, pawpaws, potatoes.
Pawpaws get pretty tall, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I'm going to say pawpaws.
Not blubberries.
Not blueberries. Like you can do the Christopher Walken pronunciation. Blueberries.
Blueberries.
Foo Fighters. That's my favorite Destin Noak.
The second syllable, always he hits it real hard on that second syllable every time.
Blueberries.
All right. Destin, you're right. Pawpaws. Pawpaws.
I would say pawpaws, yeah. I just assumed that they were both American trees. So they were both in the story. And like they both grow in similar climates.
And think of it, it's an understory tree, right? So it's naturally grows in that semi-shade environment. It's found in native forests in the same region, and it's not competing for the same type of nutrients as much.
It's a process of elimination on that one.
Yeah. Good call with the nightshades. That was a good eliminating two of them there.
Yeah. No, do y'all have pawpaws in Michigan? Do y'all have?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna be growing some pawpaws. I'm gonna try to do actually have a giant black walnut tree in the front, and so assuming I can protect it enough from the deer, I want to plant around there because I think that would be a nice spot for it.
Nice.
Awesome. That's a cool.
Totally. Make sure you get multiple pawpaws. Yeah. Definitely.
Maybe some mawmaws too.
and get the grafted varieties.
And that's all for our show tonight.
No, so I have to follow up with that, because whenever we're doing a papaya grow off, we're doing a papaya grow off. Logi's actually sent us all papaya trees, and me, Des, Phil, and Josh are doing like a papaya off. And we didn't know. Apparently, there's some papayas that are self-fertile and some that are need a male and a female. And Phil said, "Is there a mamaya and a papaya?"
There's a mama papa and a papa papa.
Dad jokes encouraged.
Oh, lots of dad jokes today.
Next question, Josh.
All right, this is one that I didn't know, and I actually learned a lot in researching this, and it has to do with brassicas, right? We all love our brassicas, cabbage, kale, broccoli, but this flowering plant most effectively attracts predatory insects that control cabbage moths and aphids in brassica beds. Okay, so your 4 options are not calendula, but calendula.
I like that better.
Well done.
Dill, sweet alyssum, I think that's how you pronounce it, and cosmos. So which of these attract predatory insects that control cabbage moth and aphids for brassica beds?
So like as a trap plant.
They actually attract hoverflies whose larvae devour the aphids.
This
is a permaculture tactic.
Yeah, I don't think it's dill, because I don't think dill is like a good companion plant with like anything, right? I don't think dill's a.
I don't think so. It's good for the swallowtail butterflies,
right?
But not. I've never seen it as a companion plant option.
No.
But either cosmos, but that could be sneaky.
I think it's cosmos. I think I want to say I've heard cosmos before, which is something you can see. I have never had any luck growing calendula, but I have had luck growing cosmos before. And now that I think about it, the only time I ever saw any hoverflies in my yard is when I had cosmos. Now I'm thinking about it.
That's right, Bowtie. They attract good things. That was my error.
But yeah, got it correct in the comments along with
Really?
Bowtie here, and it is sweet alyssum.
I got to see a picture of that.
So it's a pretty unique plant. I've never planted. I'm going to try it now after doing some research and learning this. I'm not sure it would make it through the winter flowering here when I grow my kale, but
it's really pretty.
It is a cool plant.
Pull it up real quick. Yeah, some stuff does, like yarrow is a native down here, but doesn't do well in my area. This is pretty.
Sweet alyssum's awesome. It's also edible and very much kind of like scent of honey.
Cool.
We had it in all our beds out in LA, and it was the purple is my favorite. And we were taking care of a tortoise named George who would eat the alyssum. And he loved it. So
that's awesome.
Cool plant. Very low too. Spreads nicely.
Like
that looks great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Might have to check that out.
There you go, Nick. I had no idea you had experience with it. That's cool, man.
Yeah, it's a good one.
All right, let's round it out with the last one, which is around citrus trees. Now, citrus trees, you don't think of companion plants, but there are some good ones, and they benefit from specific ground cover and root companions that enhance the soil and structure as well as deter pests. Okay, which one of these 4 plants is the most beneficial to achieve those goals? Lavender, white clover, oregano, nasturtium. Sorry, I can't say that. I'm trying to pronounce them incorrectly.
I'm going to say that out of all the 4 answers you gave, the best companion plant for citrus is more citrus, I would say. In my experience, is plant more citrus.
I'm kind of leaning either oregano or lavender, just locationally, right? Like Mediterranean, Greek, and the oregano and the lavender out there. I'm leaning one of those two.
He said ground cover, so I'm thinking.
So it's oregano. Maybe the oregano.
Oh yeah,
It spreads really well.
that's true. That's true.
It also
How-
enhances the soil structure.
Oh, so
keep that in
Enhancing the
mind.
soil structure.
What?
because clover's a cover crop, right? They plant a lot of clover and cover
Yeah.
crop, and
And you can chop and drop clover too.
yeah.
Yep. I think you all got to the answer, but Jay Dixon got there first.
You got it first.
And
Yeah,
it is white clover. And remember, clover also does nitrogen fixing in the soil. It also aerates the soil and it cools the soil because it can be planted densely as a nice cover. So that enhances it and keeps the roots cool as well.
interesting.
White clover is a great companion plant.
Bring clover back. I mean, the
And you
bees
can
love
make
clover
it edible.
too.
You can eat white clover
Yeah.
flowers. I've had
Yeah.
eaten them before.
Yeah,
I don't know about,
I like clover.
I don't know about nasturtium or oregano, but
Yeah, nasturtium's a little finicky here for me, and a lot of this, like even marigold, like I can grow marigold like up until mid-April, and then it just gets too hot. It's just way too hot for it. Awesome job on the trivia tonight, Josh. Good
Yeah,
job,
thank
dude.
you, Josh. That's awesome.
fun. Always learn something in the process of researching it. So,
Oh yeah, dude, you always do great. Well, let's get into like how you became the plant coach. So we talked about how you started out gardening with at home in New York. You moved to LA. Like what got you into becoming like the plant coach and like your journey into like media and everything like that? Like how did all that happen?
Yeah, so I was living in New York City, about 600 square foot apartment. Kind of freaked out because I had no more backyard garden. So I did the only thing that I thought made sense, and I bought about 120 houseplants to make me feel better. It did. It worked. Highly recommend. And from there, it was kind of early stage of this like plant fluencer, right? There were a few of the OGs out there, Hilton Carter, Summer Rain, Dower. Like there was some folks doing this on Instagram already. And there was this next wave of folks who were sharing on Instagram. Myself, Christopher from Plant Queen, Apartment Botanist, Maria from Bloom and Grow Radio, right? Like we all started this next little push. And from there, all of a sudden started getting press and, interviews with New York Post, New York Times, Vogue, all these companies or publications wanting to know, like, why are these millennials filling their homes with plants? And from those first couple kind of news spots, people started reaching out and are like, hey, like, can you come over and help me and train me on this? And I was like, all right, I mean, I could try. Let's see what happens. So I was working a corporate job at the time and would literally go to the plant flower district in New York at 5:30 in the morning, buy plants, bring them to the office, work my job, and then at 6 o'clock, I'm going to my clients to go install, house plants or a rooftop garden, and it just started expanding from there. So it was a crazy, crazy circumstance, and very much a side hustle turned main hustle. And now we've got, I think, over 100 clients we've serviced in New York alone. And now expanding beyond to, people's summer homes in the Hamptons or Rhinebeck, New York, all these places. So it's a crazy journey, but I just wanted people to be able to do what I was doing and make the city a little bit greener in the process.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
epic.
And how did the jump to LA happen? Like how did all that go?
So I was working this corporate job, and then I got actually reached out to by a casting agent in the UK. And they're like, we're doing this show. Can't tell you, where it's on, where it's going to be streaming on, but it rhymes with Netflix. And we want you to audition. And I auditioned with a partner, and we got on. And then I had to go to my boss and say, like, hey, like, can I go on unpaid leave? Because it's a competition show and it's called The Big Flower Fight. And I don't know how long I'll be on the show, but I'd love to come back to my job. And she looks at me, and she's, very well-respected entrepreneur businesswoman in New York and beyond. And she goes, well, Nick, you're like, why don't you stay here? You're doing so well here. And nothing is once in a lifetime. And I was like, nothing's once in a lifetime. This could be my wave, right? And I
Right.
need to catch it. And so I tried to work something out with my direct boss about going on unpaid leave, this, and that. The day before my flight's supposed to leave, my boss calls me and says, "Hey, I talked to our founder. You have to quit if you want to do this show." And I'm standing literally on a rooftop of one of my clients. I'm covered in dirt and sweat. And I was like, I quit. I'm done.
Wow.
Flew to London, did the show, had an amazing time, came back, left my apartment, and was like, I'm going to pursue this full time. This was in winter 2019.
Yeah.
Oh,
Then,
Ooh.
then
oh.
pandemic hits, right? So I'm like, oh fuck, like what am I gonna do now? Like I just quit my job. Fortunately I left my apartment, so I was living at home while I was trying to figure out what I was gonna do. And my buddies were like, hey, like you gotta get out to LA. Like you got this show, it's gonna come out and there's gonna be more opportunities for you. And I was like, you know what, let's give it a go. And moved out there at the fall of 2020. And then a little bit before that had been recruited because my the Netflix show did pretty well, and Netflix reached out and said, "Hey, we're casting this other show called Instant Dream Home. We need a landscaper. Can you audition and come do that?" So I just got propelled into this world of like entertainment plants, side hustle turned main business, and it was a dream come true, but it was scary because around the dinner table at Thanksgiving, my family's like, "Wait, you left your comfortable job, making great salary, benefits, this, and that, to go play in the dirt?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think I got this. I think I could do it." And I always joke that no one believes in you until they always believed in you from the start.
Yeah.
And I'm so fortunate to have been able to make a career out of this and have my landscaping business plus the social media and some of the other media things. But man, was it a tough transition.
I never saw the big flower fight. This one looks so interesting. Did it air in like the US?
Yeah, yeah. It
I'll have to
aired
go back
during
and
the
watch
pandemic.
this.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Ah.
I didn't last too long on the show, but we had a great time. And honestly, just you learn how to speak on camera and convey your passion for plants in a different way.
Yes.
What
And
was the premise of the competition? Like, what was the premise of it?
you had basically like 12
Yeah, you
hours
were.
to build this giant plant sculpture with whatever theme that you were doing
Is this like
at the
the
time.
Great British Baking Show gone plants?
Same production company, right? Same
No way.
vibe.
Got it.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, I definitely gotta watch this for sure. Not only because it's you, but it's the girl from What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, she was
Yes.
she's fantastic, right? And I'm still friends with almost all those folks. Like I just saw a bunch of them in London when I was there last month, and it was a great experience. Great experience.
Oh, this looks like a lot of fun. I need to go back and watch this because I knew about the
I'm
other one.
100% gonna
I'm
watch
totally
this. This is
watching it.
great.
I can't wait.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's awesome, man. So like they just reached out to you and it just kind of snowballed from there and everything else just kind of took off. But you took that leap
Yeah.
of faith, believing in yourself and going all in pretty much.
You have to, right? And
Yeah.
when they reached out, Netflix and the production company about the second show, Instant Dream Home, they said, "Nick, like how much landscaping do you do?" I was like, "Well, I've done some homes, but like most of my work is rooftops and this and that, whatever." And they were like, "All right, like we interviewed you," and my agent called me and was like, "Hey, Nick, they loved you, but they just didn't think you were enough of a landscaper at the time." I was like, "All right, no harm done, whatever." Meanwhile, I'm taking classes in sketching and plant science, soil prop, all this stuff at NYBG. So I'm building my skills and doing all the stuff, taking on more clients. And then they called back and they were like, "Hey, we want to bring you in for an interview because we interviewed 1,000 landscapers and we didn't like any of them, but we liked you. So are you
believe that.
more of a landscaper now?" And I was like, "Well, actually, yeah. Like it's been a couple months. I've done all this stuff." And also during the pandemic, people all they were doing after those first couple months was landscaping.
Consuming. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So now all of a sudden I'm like getting busy and doing all these different things. They fly you out to LA for like a chemistry test where you sit in a room with a bunch of other people who are like in your same field, and they want to see how you interact with folks. And it was such a really bizarre, unique experience. But after I got selected, you go on and film, and I'm so excited to like talk about the plants and why I chose this plant for this family. And like, I'll do a take and, be 2 minutes of plant knowledge and this and that. And they'll be like, Nick, that was amazing. Can you do it again in like 10 seconds and take out all the plant stuff? And I was like, wait, what? They're like, yeah, like we don't really care about like the native plant here, the hosts, for this insect. We don't give a shit. We want to know just why you like how it looks. And I was like,
they want less Richard Attenborough and more Ty Pennington.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
my goodness.
And granted, like the families who we worked on their homes, they loved the plants, right? That's their first impression, right?
Right.
And a lot of those folks, we were able to do some strong edible components, raised bed gardens, this and that. And it was just funny because like, plants are not great TV all the time. And those gardens look so amazing now versus how they looked when we first planted them.
Have you been back to like some of the places to revisit, like to see the places?
It was all in Atlanta. I've been back to one of them. I keep in touch with some of the families, and I actually had a call with another one of the families. I think it was episode 6 or 7. And she's like, hey, like I wanna do more veggies. Can we do more veggies? I was like, sure.
That's
So
awesome.
we created a plan, and we're doing some veggies now. And it's fun because you're helping people who genuinely help others in their community, and every family was just awesome.
That's so cool.
What
and
a
so was
memorable experience.
Yeah, dude.
That I mean, my goal in
once in a
life
lifetime
is to become Monty Don, right? I want to be the Monty
There you
Don.
go.
And then I'm this, aged, experienced man that brings all this wisdom into the garden and brings beautification. And I don't know if people would watch Monty Don if he came out today, because we don't have the attention span. But I really admire that type of television.
Oh, and Josh's videos are probably more scripted out and like more like planned out than some of the Netflix stuff. I bet like he has this stuff planned out with 2 or 3 cameras. Like he has stuff down to his
just so you know. So there was I was the landscape exterior person. We had a woodworker, interior design, and like a special projects person as well. Interior design and woodworking, their teams were like teams of 25, 30 people. My team was 3.
Yeah.
We had 3, and they were like, all right, so what are we talking about today, Nick? I'm like, you've got this whole plan for these other folks, and now it's like, all right, I'm going to create what we're going to talk about today. But it all worked out.
Were you ever?
You just leaned into the universe, man. I think that's really awesome that you got to do that.
Yeah. It was so much fun, and we won an Emmy and got canceled in the same year. Crazy.
Well, it was a weird time because there were so many good shows that came out, and like they just cut funding for so much stuff. Like I remember, like there was a lot of good Netflix shows that I would have loved to see another season of. Like Mindhunter was another one, like they should have made a 3rd season of that show. Like there were so many, like it seemed like every show on Netflix that I liked would get canceled. Like I don't know what was going on there.
And that's the thing, right? It's why we as plant people need to make our own, right? We need to be on YouTube, and my YouTube stuff is mainly for kids, right? But we need to make our own shows because you don't want to give control of a great idea to someone who controls your destiny. And we were, for instance, Dream Home, we were top 4 in the world. We won an Emmy, and they were like, great, like it was really expensive, you did great, we'll take this trophy and see you later. And it's just tough. It's tough because we definitely could have gotten the 2nd, 3rd season with the numbers that we pulled.
Oh, for sure. Well, I mean, you see a lot of those shows, like Tiny House Nation was a big one where they did a lot of those. Like that was one of my favorite shows, and they did quite a few seasons of that. I mean, like I love shows like that. Used to love the DIY Network where they would do the backyard renovation, the garage, man cave, all that good stuff. But my buddy was telling me he was friends with Dale Brisby, and he had a Netflix show, and he told him the best advice he ever could do was do your own thing on YouTube, because Netflix, I guess, had trademarked some of his sayings. And so like he wasn't allowed to say some of his things anymore. So you always got to be careful when it comes to that. I mean, especially when nowadays you got guys like Epic Gardening, and all these really big channels are doing their own production on their own, and we have a platform nowadays where you can do a lot of it on your own without having to use these big, mainstream platforms. And I mean, it's the Wild West, it really is.
It really is. And decentralized content, I think, is certainly the future because, people are going to niche down and they're going to find what they want to find. And they see through the scripted stuff, right? They want to see you fail. They want to see the real things that aren't, manufactured in that way. So I think that when you control your own destiny, you're able to add not just more knowledge, but more heart into what you're doing, and why planting this tree was meaningful to me, my family, my wife, whatever it was. We gardeners, we garden with a purpose and an intention, and that gets lost in the mainstream stuff. So we got to tell those stories on our own.
I don't know. I don't know what all you can say and what you can't, but I remember like shows like Storage Wars back in the day. They would like put like random stuff in storage units. Like we found out later on, it was definitely like a lot of it was staged. Was there anything where there was like staged or like up played up? Like on.
Yeah, I mean, the whole premise is that you're doing it in one day, right?
Yeah.
So like, and we worked our asses off. Don't get me wrong. Like we are busting our butts because there's 200 people on a job site, which I've never worked in circumstances like that. Most I've had
pressure,
like
right?
6 or 7, right? And the plant stuff always is last because they're, collapsing doors and walls and all this stuff. And like I can't physically be there until the end. But I think the biggest thing is just like, reactions, because they'll be like, all right, like now something really big's going to happen. So like, get ready to be big. I'm like, oh boy, what could it be? And then all of a sudden you see like a helicopter coming in carrying this giant thing, right? And you're like, oh my God, a helicopter. And then they're like, great, cut, send it again, do it again.
That's so
Oh
fun.
my God.
Prior to this, how much acting experience did you have? Because there's got to be a good bit of that.
0. It's funny because I'm working with the team and my landscape team on site. And they're like, so like, when's your next acting gig? And I was like, I'm literally like flying home to LA to go plant like $300,000 worth of trees for a client in West Hollywood. Like this is not my thing. But
Right.
you kind of become, every day when we talk to our audiences on our little screens, we are in a way acting and portraying, our life story in a different way. And I'd like my biggest thing is, and I'm sure it's the same with y'all, when someone meets me, be it someone who follows me, a fan of this or that, whatever, I don't want them to think that I am any different in person than I am online, because what I'm showing you is literally what I'm doing. I'm not going to the nursery to take a picture. I'm going to the nursery because I want that Japanese maple, and that Japanese maple I'm going to plant in my front yard. It's going to be great. Like that's why I'm there. And I oftentimes forget to film a lot of things because I'm so in the moment and I don't want to be taken out of it, which I know is a struggle for y'all, because when it becomes like a job, you sometimes lose a little bit about that excitement and that passion of your former hobby in a way.
For sure.
For sure. I mean, what we talked about this with Cog Hill even the other day. It's so much easier when you're just yourself, and you can just like once you get that soft lip, like, hey, this is me. Like I'm just taking you on this journey of my like fig orchard and my like growing figs for everybody. It rolls off the tongue much easier, and it feels good. And then when you get to connect with people, this is at Figtoberfest. Destin, everyone's like, they always like my like figs and coffee at the beginning when I do my episodes, and I was like, so we get to share coffee together, and they're like, actually, yeah, we do. And it's like, yeah, that's, you kind of feel, yeah. And then to your point, like there is times where like they don't see me the 15-20 minutes before, where I'm just like sitting in my garden, like eating a fig, gardening my kids, like ripping up some kale or moving stuff, planting seeds. Like I have that little moment to myself. I'm like, and that kind of was where I get inspiration, actually. Oh, that's what I saw. I'm going to talk about that. And you just like pop it on. It's just easier to do it from those authentic spaces for sure.
Well, and
I always imagine I'm talking to my 14-year-old self, teaching him something for the first time. And I
I
imagine
love that.
that's how I approach all my videos. And some people are like, because I keep it pretty basic, but that's how you have to approach it, because I think about where I started and I would want somebody to speak to me like, okay, you don't know what companion plants are? This is, you plant chives below your apple trees, and here's why you do it. And so that's what I sort of picture whenever I do my videos, is like, just
Never
teach myself.
underestimate how much someone doesn't know.
for sure.
Because I do a yearly PSA on, hey, when you're harvesting basil, don't pull off the leaves, cut the stem to encourage more lateral meristem growth. And people are like, oh my God, amazing. Like they think it's like I've discovered, infinite power, right? Like it's crazy, but you're absolutely right, Josh. And I love that line, just talking to your younger self. That's awesome.
Well, and we definitely have to understand that, like, this isn't like they'll leave it the Beaver times, where people watch us in a black and white TV, once a week. They're seeing us almost every single day. They can tell when we're being fake and when we're being authentic. It's people are smart. When they see us as much as they do, they're going to tell when he's faking it. And it is best just to be as genuine as possible. Like Josh was saying, you can't fake authenticity. When you're excited about something. Maybe there's sometimes like that star fruit didn't come off my video right when that one did, but I tried to make it look like it, but it did fall off when I touched it, and I just didn't get it on video.
Yeah, but those are just logistics, right? And
yes.
that always is going to have a little bit of movie magic behind it, right? But
yeah,
if that enthusiasm, and I think plant people are very enthusiastic people, when that enthusiasm comes through the screen, everyone wants to be a part of it.
Oh man, you nailed it. It's like Destin showed me that star fruit like 3 times in one visit to his house. Where we went back and we're like, well, let's look at it now. And we're all just out there looking at it like,
how you
what?
the shaving off of the edges built the anticipation. Honestly, I was like, why is he shaving it? I don't know.
Well,
we learned that at Jorge's.
So Jorge's, we were talking about. I took Phil to Jorge's. And
it was great.
We're talking about my unripe one, and Jorge's wife, like, oh, a customer of ours, because they have all these people. They built like a network of customers that are like friends, and so they bring them honey and eggs and like fruits and stuff. So they brought them star fruit at their house, so we actually got to try star fruit for the first time together at Jorge's, and like it was so good. And I was saying the only thing was missing is some tahini. Some tahini would be amazing on it. I think it'd be really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it was awesome. So I mean, just like you were saying,
but that's where we got the advice to take the edges off of the stars.
The ribs, yes.
Yeah, the ribs. And they were like, do that beforehand, and then it was like, it was like, okay.
Smart.
Yes.
Anyway.
But getting people into gardening, getting into plants is what we want to do more than anything. Is we want to encourage people to start their garden. So like, how did this book get started, Nick? Like, is this your most recent project? Like, this is the big thing?
I mean, I'm hoping to come out with another book in the next year or so that's more focused on food growing, specifically on farmers. I've been talking with my agent about this idea of not just chronicling where and how our food is grown, but who, because I think farmers are one of the most misrepresented, underrepresented, poorly treated members of our society. I'm sure you guys have all met many farmers, and especially commercial farmers who get squeezed by government, by corporations. Suicide rates are incredibly high for farmers and farm families. So I think shedding lights on some of those stories and talking about specific things and how they grow is kind of the next frontier for me in terms of the book stuff. That first book was great. It's kind of my philosophy that a houseplant is a stepping stone towards sustainability. And if I can get you to care about this small little plant on your desk, I can get you to care about the big plant that we all live on. And that was kind of my New York hypothesis put to the test. And it was a labor of love for sure. But, I'm hoping to take that next leap and show people, okay, now that you maybe moved out of your apartment in your 30s, you maybe bought a house, you have a family. What does it mean to have an orchard that, when your kid comes home from college one day, can sit under those trees and make fresh baked apple pie and all these things and have that be a bonding moment for you and your family? Like, what does that mean? That's where we're
Absolutely.
moving.
Well, and that's what I'm hearing from a lot of these farmers. Nowadays, farmers, nursery owners, a lot of them are either getting boxed out by the big box stores, or their sons and daughters don't want to do it. They don't want to work. I mean, nursery people and farm people are working 365 days a year. It's
Oh yeah.
not a lot of days off. It's hard to hire help.
And used to be the
It's
original
hard.
economists,
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
heard some recent farmers at orchards that I went out to, and they said that the entire agricultural business of selling for the product price is going out, and agrotourism is the only way that you can actually make a profit growing
Yep.
plants anymore. That's
Yes.
it. It's like, if you don't do that, you're gonna go out because they're buying this stuff from China for cheaper than you can grow it here, which is crazy.
It's not
Yeah.
enough to just sell plants. I'm going to be doing a whole video because I go on for my work. I go to anywhere between 30 to 50 nurseries in a week. So
Wow.
I see. I go to hundreds of nurseries every year, and so I see what nurseries are doing it right and which nurseries are doing it wrong. Which nurseries won't be around in a year from now. I see what they're doing and what they're doing right. And as someone who maybe wants to own a nursery down the road, I'd like to spread that knowledge and kind of see there's a couple things I look for when I go to a nursery or go to like a Froberg's farm, like a agritourism spot. It's like clean bathrooms, parking spaces, selection, how clean is everything, how healthy does everything look, does it smell like chemicals when you're walking around, like there's things you look for that people make, the little things that folks that run these places might not think about, that we see immediately. There's a reason that Buc-ee's does so well here in Texas, because they got number one thing is clean bathrooms. You got a clean bathroom every time you stop at Buc-ee's. So I mean, that's a number one draw for me. So like it's interesting to see where the future of like farms and nurseries and these botanic gardens go. There's a nursery over in San Antonio that's going to become a 501(c)(3) botanical garden because they're worried about it getting sold. The radio host, the garden radio host there in San Antonio owns it, and he's going to turn it into a botanical garden rather than letting it get sold and turn into something else. So that's another option. It's kind of a cool thing. But yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely interesting to see where everything's going. Yeah. So besides the book, what's next for you, Nick? Like, are you have anything in the works? Like, are you going to be doing any more TV, or are you going to be doing kind of on your own now? What do you think?
I mean, I think TV will be there eventually. The streaming world is a mess right now, as I'm sure you can tell by the number of sequels and live action remakes that you constantly see. Very few people willing to take chances on original content. So in the meantime, it's just percolating new ideas, getting on YouTube for more of the adult stuff as well. But yeah, I'm in the family planning process with my wife, and we're in this IVF journey now. So a big part of it is also just transitioning and showing like, hey, like growing a family is it's a lot harder than growing some of these plants. And how can I do them in conjunction with one another? And what has the growing of plants taught me about this process that we're in now? So I think those opportunities will come. It's just I'm focusing on roots right now versus flowers. And you know how it is. Once that root system's good, we're going to be blooming again, baby.
Well, I saw a little bit of that on your Instagram, and I was like, man, that's I share more of that, because there's a lot of people like in our generation, like me and my wife, have had fertility issues, and we've thought about going down the IVF route, and so it's a issue that's very relatable to a lot. I don't know if it's the hormones and stuff they're putting in our food nowadays, but I know a lot of people that I know my age are having issues with fertility.
Yeah,
it is
certainly related to diet and the quality of the food that we eat, no doubt about it. And I think that for us, it's a matter of just being vulnerable in a way that hey, like we're still people, we're gonna have fun and we're gonna try to live our lives, but these influencers out there that everything is great all the time and like look at all these things, like that's not relatable. Life is tough. Life is shitty. And especially in this crazy world we live in now, right? Like all I want to do is be out here and make the world greener than when I found it.
That's fantastic.
A good goal to have.
I think we can all agree on that, and we'll go ahead and end on that part. Man, I really appreciate it, Nick. Josh, real quick, what you got going on? What you got coming up, dude?
Yeah, this week I'm going to be traveling a little bit, going out to some places coming up, Tennessee, to check out this regenerative agricultural farm. Really getting into this whole regenerative ag concept, trying to like understand it, see how it works. I'm excited about that, and just got like a huge backlog of plants I need to put in the ground, and I got like 2 months to get them all in the ground. I mean, probably 50 plants I need to do something with, and a lot of plants. So
did you say Virginia? Did you say Virginia?
No, Tennessee.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to Polyface.
Oh, no.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so that's what I got coming up.
That's awesome, dude. Well, your videos are fantastic, dude. I made the comment that a lot of people don't comment on. Josh's audio quality is very, very good in his videos. Very underrated because if people can't hear you, I've been doing some nursery tour videos, and I have just stopped editing some videos. Like the background music at the nursery is so bad, so loud that I can't hear myself talk. I was like, I'm not even gonna continue editing this video. I'm just gonna scrap it. And so it sucks, but it is what it is. But awesome, Josh. Look forward to seeing those adventures, man. Make sure you follow Uncle Josh on Facebook, and then the Plant Techie on YouTube and Instagram.
You got it.
And TikTok. Phil's Figs, what you got going on, dude?
Oh, I've been traveling a lot for figs and stuff, so I'm back in town now. I have some videos coming up because now, if you live zone 8 and below, now's a good time to plant a fig tree in the ground. And so I'm finally caving. I'm putting a fig tree in my front yard. Everything has been in my backyard up until this point. It is now front yard time. I've ran out of space. And nice little accent in the front. We're gonna make it look good. I think that's the next video.
How does Grace feel about that?
She's on board. She's on. After I introduced her we got pollinator gardens in the front now, and as long as we make it look nice, we're good. We're clear for takeoff.
That's the key.
Right. And then
as long as mom was happy.
Exactly. Well, only always. And then and then right now I'm, things are starting to slow down. I'm still getting some later season figs, but cutting season is upon us in December. And so if you guys are interested in getting fig cuttings from me, sign up on philsfigs.com. That's where I can send out my emails so you guys can practice propagating on your own.
Awesome, dude. Cool. Yeah, philsfigs.com, philsfigs.com. Mr. Nick, let everybody know what you got coming up, where they can find you, and what you got going on.
Yeah, it's FarmerNick on Instagram, TikTok. And then if you've got little ones, ages 10 and under or even older, who want to laugh at me being a buffoon dressed as a sunflower, FarmerNick Jr. on YouTube.
They will be watching it this Saturday morning.
Yes.
I have it. Awesome. I've subscribed on both channels. I got the kit FarmerNick Jr. locked and loaded.
Love it. No, it's so much fun. Season 3 is coming out next spring. We actually feel you'll like this. We introduced a lovable villain, the squirrel, in season 3.
Oh my gosh!
Played by my wife.
Oh my god!
Wait, is that the giant squirrel outfit? I think I've seen that.
Yes, that's the one. I got it on eBay. And my wife, she's a performer. She's performed at the Met, LA Opera, but this is the role she was born to play. As squirrels.
So,
yes. So be on the lookout for that, and more to come on Instagram.
Fantastic, dude. Well, I'll be in Austin next week, and I'll be everywhere. You can track me on my Instagram. I post a lot, so I'll be here, there, and everywhere as far as Texas goes. But guys, thank y'all so much. Nick, dude, you were fantastic, man. We really appreciate you coming on, dude. We'd love to have you back on, maybe in the spring. Catch it up.
Sounds great.
When does spring start in Michigan? Like July?
hey,
get out of here!
Like May 15th feels pretty good.
We'll set a date. We'll make it happen. But dude, thank you so much, guys. Thank y'all so much for being here, and we'll see y'all next week.
Cool.
This is the garden party, and we want a garden party with you. We talk about the plants we grow and some things you might not know. The garden party.